remote floating cabin. It's been here since, I think, 1974 or something. It's boat access only, West Coast Vancouver Island, pretty remote. There's a few other floating cabins around this bay. Bright and early, 6 in the morning, maybe a quarter after. Spent 5 hours on a jackhammer yesterday. Jackhammering these concrete pads the old owner had in the property. Oh my god, did it suck! I don't know how much concrete's down there, but at least it took me all day to almost get it down to below the grass where I get rid of these things. These 3 chunks of angle iron coming up where we had this weird antenna bolted to it. But anyway. My hands are killing me. Probably shouldn't have done it straight go that long, but had to get it done. What else did I do? I put up the GoPro. Excuse me. Excuse me. The new GoPro. I put it on the hummingbird feeders last evening. So I'll share that. How I made out with that. Worked out pretty cool, but I think I can do better. I'm going to move the cameras next time to try to get them. I think I'm going to attach them right to the feeder. Get it right in front of the lens, because right now that camera's like that far away from them. Worked out pretty good. But now, I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff done this morning. I'm letting Sarah do her thing, because I'm making her come to the woods today. I say, get your hiking boots ready, you're coming with me. She goes, I don't know where they are. I know where your hiking boots are, I got you. We're going to go get those trail cameras once and for all. She's going to come, the dog's going to come, the rifle's going to come, and we're going to take you with us and show you. I think I mentioned earlier in the video the significance of where these cameras are. No, I do not expect any hairy upright beings to be in the cameras. That wasn't my intention, never will be. And let's face it, our cameras aren't good enough, period. Or maybe we aren't, whatever it is. But anyway, we got a lot of voices here to share. I want you guys to think about something. When DNA results are shared with you, it doesn't matter who it's from, just keep in mind the truths are very, very hard to accept for your average human being. Mm-hmm. Why? I think because we have been programmed that way intentionally, that's why. But I do recall I have yet to dig them up. When I do organize these damn things is the Edgar files. One thing he did share with me, they shared with me with confidence, whether or not it's legit or not, but everything seems to be pointing in this direction and seems highly probable to me at this point. Very highly probable is that they have proven that our DNA was intentionally manipulated X amount of years ago. I won't share the number because right now my brain's all over the map with the different numbers. It was 12,000 comes to mind, then 25,000, whatever it is, I got it on paper. And what that particular group of scientists said was they have proven that the male DNA was actually from a bear. What they were arguing, what the point the scientists got to was they were arguing whether it was an extinct bear, brown bear, or a current possible live one. I think they said it was extinct. So, there you go. That is one of the items that was shared with me through that group of scientists. There's other groups as well doing the same thing, and they haven't shared with me yet the male side, the missing male side. So, will they? Yep. Yeah, they will. That's their deal, the other group. But I thought I'd share that with you guys anyway, because this came to mind. And then that will as well help you understand the pushback from certain individuals who have been lens whores. It'll help you understand their fierce pushback of the truths that are being discovered by good, honest people. They don't like that. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling on that. That's not what this is about this morning. This morning is about all of the people. Now, where were these emails? Here we go. I'm trying to get some off the old phone. I'm going to throw this sucker away. My newer phone, sorry. It's done. It's not done terrorizing me, but anyway. Where are these emails? I caught one this morning that caught my eye when I was doing a search trying to find an email from the guys in Alberta that wanted me to come and hang out, and I copied it. I can't find the damn thing. Alright, now listen to this. This one caught my eye because this is on my mind a lot lately. U.S. government agents trespassing on Alberta farm. Sasquatches there for decades is the title of this email. Steve, I apologize if this is the wrong email for this. I'm sorry, but I couldn't find the email for sending in encounter stories. I get that a lot. I don't know why. Because I always say, share my story at howtohunt.com. That's where they go. I had a conversation with an Alberta farmer who has had Sasquatches on his land for decades. He had U.S. government agents trespassing on his land, presumably looking for the Sasquatches. I have forwarded the conversation to you in your Facebook Messenger for convenience sake. It's screenshots of the conversation I had with the farmer in Messenger. Too many screenshots for email. Please let me know if you have received the conversation in your Messenger account. Thank you for all you do. Okay, man, no I haven't. I don't have Facebook on my phones. I don't go on there, unfortunately. And what I have noticed with the Messenger thing, when I have, sometimes I go on there and there seems to be Messenger folders everywhere, and it confuses the shit out of me. And each one has pending 200, 300, 400 message requests, and then other messages from people that follow my pages or personal page. Like I have a few hunting pages on there, and then there's Steve Isdall page on there, Program 66 one on there. What I understand, I think, is each Facebook page has a messenger for it. Very confusing for this simple dude. And I just don't go on Facebook. So, I don't know. I could probably try this laptop and see if I can get on there maybe. I don't even know if I've got it on that laptop. I know it's not on these phones because I tried to have a look. I caught that this morning. So, if you could, just throw all the screenshots, attach them, paste them in the same way you sent this to me, and do it this way. Okay? In the meantime, if I can't figure it out, I'll try to find them. I don't even know if you sent it to me there. But I'm interested in that topic big time. Big time interested in it. Because I basically had somewhat solid, very solid confirmation that yes, there are human beings seeking and killing these beings. And that's not TV personalities, that's not funky Bigfoot hunters on social media. These are people who we do not know who they are or who pays them, where they come from, but that seems to be pointing in the direction for me on my ride, is I am accepting that as fact. Who and why? I think we will be able to figure that out shortly. Yeah, I'll bite my lip on there. But anyway, please send me that conversation. I am very interested to hear the conversation, alright? And if you can, just throw the screenshots in this same email and do it this way, okay? And in the meantime, if I get a chance, I'll try to figure out how to get on Facebook, but you gotta show how much time it's gonna take. I gotta go onto Facebook, download the app, or whatever I'm gonna do, find it on here, and then I have to start going to all the different pages, crack open that messenger, figure out how to switch accounts, which confuses me too sometimes. And then I gotta go through all the messages, and then I gotta look at pending messages, and it's gonna take for freaking ever. So, if you can, mail in this way. We need the information on who these people are. And also, here's another little idea I'm going to drop. I've dropped it before. And I'll guarantee you those people are here watching us on this channel. I'll guarantee it. And I will bite my lip on saying to them right now what I feel like saying to them. But anyway, listen to me, you guys. Some of you characters out there who may possibly be into it and are smooth. It would be easy to find out who these people are if you did a coordinated move. Get a handful of friends, make up some fake email addresses, do whatever you do. Pick a zone, I guess near you, so the calls come from the right area, and fake group sightings and report it to, I don't know, that shouldn't be too hard to figure out actually. This is just, I haven't scripted this, I didn't think about saying this, I'm just coming to mind right now, you guys, okay? That's why it's not smooth. But it wouldn't be too hard to organize a handful of people to come up with some alarming, intense, similar across the board reports, current, right now. Send it to a couple of places. I got a good idea who, which will be direct links to these people. Get the cameras pre-set up, trail cameras, whatever you got. Have somebody hiding camouflage when they come. Videotape them. Get clear video of their faces, their vehicles, and even if you're smooth enough, take it the extra distance and record the conversation. And here comes a cat with a bird or a big mouse in its mouth. Little bastards. You know what I mean? I would be into doing that myself. If I had the right people to do it with, I would do it in a heartbeat. You know how interesting that would be? You know how much of a puzzle piece that would provide for many of us here? Not only a puzzle piece, but confirmation in a way for many of you out there who are kind of sitting on the fence. All of a sudden, especially in Canada. Imagine being in Canada and making a bunch of reports, send them all into that one specific place, who I am fairly convinced they are directly linked to these people. And all of a sudden American quote agents, end quote, show up in Canada, rural, just like that. Like as if they had an office right over there. Do you know what I mean? How alarming that is? And then videotape the shit out of them. And if you're scared to share it, send it to me. I'll share it. Maybe I'll do this. I'd love to do it. And I know we're giving the heads up on here possibly, but what are they going to do? How are they going to know if it's real or not, right? They're going to have to go check it out. Well, they got 5 or 6 different people from various neighborhoods reporting the same thing. None of these people seem to be linked. It's got to be legit. Let's go, boys. You never know, right? It could be done. Babbling. Send that in. Send that conversation to me. Get it to me. Somehow get it to me. If it's confusing on how to paste those screenshots, get the kids to do it. They all know how to do that shit these days. Smooth. This is titled Nordeg, Alberta. I hope this gets to where it's intended to go. Well, Steve, you can call me Little Auger. My name given to me by my dad. His nickname on the show road was Auger. May he rest in peace. I have 2 encounters. The first happened back in 78 or 79. I was in grade 5 or 6. We had a field trip to Nordeg, where we to do a bunch of nature hikes and learn about science and social studies things. We were staying in a place where there were lots of cabins and a hall/cookhouse where the cabins took turns doing the meals, cleaning, setting up for studies, and of course dishes. I'm trying to remember the best I can. I believe it was our second day there. We did a nature walk and some science things with the ecosystem. Echo. We returned to the cabins, got cleaned up for dinner about 5 or 6 p.m. We ate and put the tables away and got ready for an evening gathering. After we got ready for bed, our cabins had bunk beds, and I was on the top bunk next to the window. I remember falling asleep, watching the stars and the moon. At about 4 a.m., I was woken up by noise outside. When I looked out the window, there was a hairy face looking at me. I screamed as any scared kid would, waking everyone in our and the closest cabin to us. Every cabin had an adult supervisor. Ours was a teacher. After explaining to him the best I could of what I saw, he went outside, which by that time the other cabin supervisor was out there asking if all was good. They walked around the cabins, and by then they were joined by other adults discussing what to do. Since our cabin was scheduled to do the breakfast setup, we were taken to the hall to start setting up. The adults never talked to us about what they found around our cabins, but all the activities outside the compound for the next 2 days were canceled. Of course, the kids held it against me. It hurt then, but now I just say F them. Good for you. So do I. The second happened on a week-long trail ride in Jasper when I was 15 in 1981. Since I was raised on a farm and rode horses as far back as I can remember, I pretty much stuck with the outfitters. I'd help feed and water. I was used to doing all the stuff from showing cattle with my dad. They can't go to the food and water, you need to take it to them. A friend of mine's dad ran those outfits for years in Jasper. It was the third day of the ride and I was right behind the lead hand John. We had just finished a good climb and was on a trail going through a tall grassy meadow about 3 or 4 football fields in length and width. A couple horses in the middle of the line spooked and started to take flight passing the group. When the first horse passed the front, John said, "Hold them here," and took off after the first horse. I turned my horse sideways across the trail in time to stop the second horse, which had already dislodged its rider. Got to give the lady from Germany credit for trying to hold her horse back. As we waited for John and the other rider to get back, the outfitter from the back came up and asked if I was okay to lead. As we were talking and telling him, John said to hold them here, I saw a movement out of the corner of my eye. I turned to see a very large, bipedal being going into the trees. Fast forward that evening when we were tracking out, I asked John if the other rider had seen anything that spooked his horse. He had not seen anything. He said it was that horse's first time on the ride. He said normally the horses pack before they take riders to get them used to the terrain and surroundings. I also asked about what I saw. I know that is what spooked the horse. He said if something that large wanted to do harm, we would probably never see it coming. They are here, and nothing short of the earth blowing up into little pieces will change that. Agreed. Anyway, the club is always growing, and I know I've been a part of it since the late 70s. Sorry for the book, but I guess it's just another chapter in life, and yes, you can use my name. I gave up caring what people think or say about me in November of '89. Best regards, Mike Poland. Mike, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you big time. I'm familiar with that area, and it is pretty stunning, beautiful, and wild, right? And a great place to hang out to elude murderous humans, possibly. Possibly. And more members of the club in no return. Just like that, the hairy face in the window thing. Why do they do that? Why do they do that? I guess out of curiosity, but man, what a nasty thing for a human child, any human, but human children to witness that, right? The so-called boogeyman coming to life for real, looking at you through the window. A lot of people ask, why are you scared of these things? Why are people so scared? Here's the fact. Humans are scared by nature. We are a very insecure herd animal species. Very insecure. We are very scared by nature. That's all there is to it. Now, we've all been raised by that idiot box, the TV, in all movies and cartoons from a long time ago. Your typical monster has been a huge, muscle-bound goon covered in hair or fur, and ferocious, terrifying, and kills humans, right? We've been raised to believe that that is a description of our classic boogeyman. So, it doesn't matter if you're a child or an adult or how gnarly tough you think you are. Everybody reacts differently, but your average human being, when you have the real life, live version of our childhood boogeyman looking through the window at you, or standing there looking at you in the timber, or worse, screaming at you, think about it. For all of you who haven't had that experience, picture it. Right? That's why we're here right now. Okay, another voice here. Army veteran and son get chased out of the forest in Idaho. Hello, Steve. Here's my story. You can use my name, Ryan Ray. My son Samuel and I had an interesting experience in the summer of 2010 that made me a believer, or maybe possibly a knower. I had just returned from Iraq a few months earlier. Having served 2 tours in Iraq in the U.S. Army, I was pretty confident in my abilities and the capabilities of my weapons. I was also confident in the fact that I was very familiar with this location, as I had been coming here almost annually since I was 14 years old on backpacking trips. It was still a little too early to go backpacking, as there was still a lot of snow that had not yet melted yet, but I had to get the trip knocked out because I was due to report to a new duty station in a couple of weeks. 7 years prior, a friend and I had walked into this lake. Something odd I noticed on the way up was a footprint. It looked like a child's foot, probably about 7 inches long. It was clear and deep. This trail is covered with shale and sharp rock, so a child walking up here barefoot would be highly unlikely. The funny thing is, I bent down to look at the print but walked off and didn't think any more about it. The place we walked into was about 10 miles in. We only saw 2 other people on the way in. They went to the first lake for a few hours of fishing, then rode out on motorcycles in the evening. Besides us, there were only 2 people, a couple, that had signed in at the trailhead. And on the way into the lake, we had about half a mile to go. I heard a couple of gunshots from a high-power rifle. It was odd, as most backpackers carry a pistol, if anything at all, and rarely shoot up here. Upon arriving at the campsite, I noticed the motorcycle the couple had come in on chained to a tree. They had apparently rode the motorcycle as far as permissible and hiked into one of the further lakes. Sam and I set up the tent and started a campfire. Sam was not feeling well, so he laid down for a nap. I hung a bear bag, filled canteens, and all the rest in order to be ready for the next day's hike, which was going to involve a lot of walking. Around 9:45 p.m., just as the sun was making its last appearance, I peered out the mesh window of the tent as I had just settled into my sleeping bag. And what I saw out the window was the biggest grizzly bear that I had ever seen. It was on the other side of a large stream which separated the camping area from the other side of the trail. I reached for my rifle, unzipped the tent just enough to get the muzzle of the rifle out. As the zipper caught, as it usually does, the first warning shot went unheeded, and the second made the bear walk back and watch from a distance. Knowing that the bear was not leaving, I had Sam keep the weapon oriented on the bear, and I broke camp in about 5 minutes. We had about 10 minutes of daylight left, so we put some distance between us and the campsite toward the trailhead. We had our headlamps for light on the way out, but the batteries were going out. This is like a beginning of a horror movie, right? This is an area where a fire had come through many years ago that has a lot of standing and fallen dead trees. At this point, we heard wood knocking. It was a phenomenon that I was familiar with because I enjoyed watching Bigfoot programs. It sounded as if someone had a baseball bat and was pounding on some of these old dead trees, each time making a loud, hollow-sounding thud. Sam asked me if that was normal. Having spent a lot of time outdoors, I knew it was not, but affirmed to him that it was indeed normal. I had a tactical light, which is great for luminescence, but the batteries don't last long. But halfway out, we relaxed a little. The unseen creature was pacing us, and was able to keep pace even though the terrain it traveled through was uneven and encumbered with deadfall. Sam and I were on a trail and could not distance ourselves from it. Sam was in the lead, and when he turned his head to speak to me at one point, his headlamp illuminated 4 sets of eyes, 3 green sets and 1 red set. I heard claws on trees, and one of the sets of eyes, the red set, came directly toward us. I told Sam to run, as the eyes were slightly ahead of us and to our left. I ran toward the red eyes and fired off some rounds into the fallen trees just off the trail. I did this in hopes of scaring the animals away. I've read of Bigfoots having glowing red eyes. I can't say for sure if there may have been wild cats in the trees or something explainable. All I know is that I felt an irrational fear, which was telling me to get out. A little further on, we met up with the creek that paralleled the trail, The stream is probably about 5 feet deep at that point. And out of nowhere, a huge rock was thrown into the water. It was obvious the rock was huge because of the kerplunk sound it made as it went in the water. I told Sam to run, and I kept a watch to see if there was anything coming up from behind us. I faced rearward on the trail, allowing Sam to get some distance down the trail. I saw what looked to be a large figure. I would approximate at 8 feet tall across the trail behind me, probably 15 to 20 yards back. There was just enough light to see it move, and also that the figure was not dark in color. I figured it must have been gray in color, as I would have not seen a darker animal. I decided not to take any more shots as it was dark and my mind and nerves were frazzled. I questioned my own sanity. I felt that I must be losing my mind, and that it would probably be safer not to fire any more warning shots, as I had fired 6 to 8 shots already on the way out. I put the rifle on safe and ran after Sam. About an hour later, Sam and I returned to the truck, exhausted. Thanks so much for your time, Steve. Ryan M. Ray. I don't envy that experience, Ron. I can't imagine having a boy, your son, out there in the dark and that shit going on. And I can't imagine the terror that must have went through your son when his A-type kick-ass dad's telling him to run. Like, really picture it, you guys. Imagine that you're in the timber overnight with your dad, and your dad's shitting himself, telling you to run, and your dad is a brave son of a gun, A-type kick-ass dude who I would imagine your son grew up knowing that you could take care of business, period. That would be something else for that boy to have that experience, right? I hope it didn't ruin it for him. Probably pretty tough not to, right? I hope it didn't ruin it for him to have that passion for the outdoors, the real world, because that is a theft. Such a theft that's been going on non-stop for so many people. Another reason why we're here, right? Glad you guys are safe. Yeah, sometimes grizzly bears, they're not all the same in the attitude, right? It's just those big ones. You don't normally have problems with big ones, and they make distance between us and them pretty quick. I don't know about where you are, but where I am in BC, I mean, there's still bears are still alive today that were alive when grizzly hunting was still going on in BC. They shut it down because of the city folk being easily knee-jerked with emotions about it. And believe me, the majority of the First Nations people aren't happy about that, the hunting season coming to an end, and they do still hunt them. And I will actually be accompanying First Nations guy on a grizzly hunt next month, late next month. I'm going to videotape it. Anyways, I'm babbling. What I'm saying is it's usually the young teenage male bears because they're tired of getting the shit beat out of them everywhere they turn around, trying to get their own territory, and those are usually the ones that'll potentially give humans grief. But those great big huge adult ones, they're too smart. They don't give us too much grief. But what I'm saying is I have come across a handful of grizzlies where they just don't give a shit. And yeah, I've fired a warning shot or two and they still go like this. Whatever. Right? Give you attitude. It's like, oh, okay, well maybe I'll attempt to put distance between us. Right? Anyway. Crazy experience for that young man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you emailing in. Big time. Be safe out there and email me back with any more knowledge you get about anything that may help the people here, alright? Okay, what do we got? Here's another one. It's titled, Steve, a quick question. Hi Steve, you can use my name as Lana. I live in Linwood, Washington, originally from Camano Island. I started listening to your channel last year when people from my preparedness group introduced it to me. It's been really awesome, and even though I've never met you, I listen to you so much, and I agree with everything you say. I feel like I know you, LOL. I am the great-great-great-great-granddaughter of Francis Scott Key, you know, that dude that wrote the national anthem for the United States. No way. I have patriotic blood running through my veins, and I absolutely hate what is going on with the tyrannical true monsters and how they have forced people through fear, propaganda campaigns to put certain things in their body that should never be allowed. Agreed. Anyways, that's a whole other topic I don't need to go into because we're already on the same page. The reason I'm emailing is because I actually have a question for you. I remember once somebody had wrote into the channel, and the highlights of what I remember was that he was maybe a logger and was in his truck waiting behind some people trying to move some major logs that were placed in the roadway as a blockage on purpose by some Sasquatch. The guys trying to remove the blockage had no idea what was going on, but the guy who wrote in and was telling the story had had previous interactions and did know about them. However, on this occasion he mentioned that he had extreme arthritis and was in quite a bit of pain, and he got out to take a leak or something, and basically one of the Sasquatch beings came over to him and mind spoke and said that he was not like other human beings, and it was a positive interaction, and that the Sasquatch came over and put his hand behind his neck, and he had this incredible warm feeling. And after that, the interaction was over. When the guy woke up the next day, he said his pain was significantly reduced. So, my question is, I was wondering, if you could ask either the Owl Man or some of the people that interact with these tribes and beings and get inside information to ask if they do, the Sabe have healing abilities, even if it's the tribe elders or even travelers. It might be a long shot, but I think it's worth looking into. Call me crazy, but I had a severe back injury, and I'm 37, and it's kind of turned my life upside down. Now that sucks. I tore the annular fibers of my disc, and it's been 6 months already. And they say it takes like 2 years to heal. Oof, well thank God it can heal. I'm signed up for stem cell therapy soon, also thanks to you and your channel encouraging me to research that. Good, that's good news. That's probably going to do it. But on the off chance that the Sabe do have healing abilities, and on another off chance that I could find one that was evolved enough and I could get it to like me enough, maybe it would be willing to help me out, like they did for that guy. I've always been very open-minded, and since a little kid I always knew there was more to life than what we saw, and I always wanted to be friends with some type of nice creature. I have to keep that in balance with the fact that I know that a lot of them are sinister and evil, that I think it's a mixed bag just like us. Some of them are good, bad, and neutral just like human beings, but I still think they have free will, and maybe a handful of them might be very kind. Anyways, if you can ask around about that, I'd really appreciate it. I do plan on getting better and getting my health back on track. The fact that I had pre-existing scoliosis didn't help me either, but I'm going to have to give everything I got to get my spine healthy so I can do things I want to do. I think a great reward for that would be to hire you to take me fishing. Below I will give my information. I admire you greatly for how you're naturally wired and the lifestyle you live. God bless you and yours. Alright, Lena. Shared. Your request, your question is out there in the world right now. And let's see if anybody replies. Me, I haven't a clue. I haven't a clue. From what I do know about us and what's been going on, I don't know. I have a feeling they are the majority of this population of these unacknowledged beings. They're probably sitting back waiting for us to implode and hurry up and hurry up our cycle come to an end again. I have a feeling that's probably what the majority of them are doing. Watching us shaking our head thinking, hurry up, get it over with, get out of here. Do yourselves in and do us all a favor and continue this this ride you guys are on. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. I'm not the guy to know about that end of it. Somebody out there might be, and if you are, you know the drill. You can reply to Lana in the comment section below, or possibly email her through me, or email me and share with me what you got, and I'll share with the people. Okay? Good luck, Lana. Don't give up. If you were told you can't heal in 2 years, and a spine, that's huge. You'll get better. It's all in the mind, right? It's all in your mind. You will get better. Who's next? Indiana Monster. is the title of this email. Well, here we go. I'm a seasonal hunter. White-tailed deer, not much more than that. I had the best hunting ground ever, but it seems all things come to an end. Just so happened one of my workmates just moved to supervisor at my facility, and he went all gusto, bought a fantastic bit of land for a city fellow. He agreed that a couple of us mates could have a go at his land. It was an area I knew well, not much more than a mile from Shades State Park and Turkey Run State Park. My friend and I were excited. We parked my old Dodge along field, maybe half to 3/4 of a mile from his home. From his yard we set out. My friend took the left and I the right. About 30 minutes in, I found what I thought was a perfect, nice ridge line, maybe 30 feet up, and nice drop into open fields to my right side and thick area known as pines. Very little punctuation so far. Okay guys, bear with me. There was a tree that had overgrown its footing with the roots halfway out of the ground and the tree leaning. I got up next to it, perfect blind, and placed to rest for the best shot. I shoveled dirt and leaves in my gear bag. With my gear bag. Then it's a perfect cover scent. The cross breeze, mild but effective. I settled in, got still and silent. That's when I noticed no birds or squirrels. All of a sudden, I could hear shuffling. Very large, heavy bipedal movements. I was thinking, oh shit. I was close to a fellow hunter, but I couldn't see where he was. I grabbed my cheap binoculars for a closer look. Steve, what I saw absolutely blew my mind. I seriously said in my head, can't be. I'm not really seeing this. 40 yards out, 30 feet down, waistline up, pretty clear, waist down, thickets, tall, heavy grass. It was 8 to 9 feet, 4.5 to 5 feet wide, as thick as any prize bull ever was. Dirty brown, reddish tinge, hanging 4 inches of hair, not fur. Gray, dark brown, clay-looking face and hands. The face was sparsely grown with hair, massive features, brow, eyes, very little white, mostly black, dark brown nose, was short and wide. Mouth seemed to go from side to side, as it was constantly like chewing its gums. Its teeth, yellow-gray, mostly flat, what I was able to see. It reaching approximately 12 feet, grabbing limbs 3 to 4 inches around and snapping them off clean, no split or splintering. It looked like it was making a resting area. I went completely still. My heartbeat was deafening. It seemed like 10 minutes or more in awe as I stared. Fear overwhelmed me, holding a Mossberg 12 with hot loads, spinner slugs. If it noticed me, I couldn't take it down. Everything was damp and I moved slowly down away from it. 10 minutes in a walking hurry, I found a fence line and followed in the general direction. Soon I came upon an old Coke delivery truck, yellowish, buried up to the seat springs. The box was just partial, walls, no top. At 6'4", I could see clearly a couple of deer hiding terrified, staring where I had just come from. I shit you not, I could have reached out and touched them. Just about then, I could hear bipedal walking, stomping, cracking of limbs, ground cover. I panicked. I headed down the fence as fast as I could without running. Finding rotten fence, opened into the field where my truck was parked, maybe half a mile. I crossed that field like an Olympic sprinter. My feet touched maybe every 4 to 5 feet, 5 rows. When I reached it, my lungs were burning and my legs were shaking. Turning as I heard/felt a scream/yell to guttural growl. Let me read that smooth. Turning as I heard and felt scream/yell to guttural growl. That thing was standing at the fence opening, clearly meaning for me to definitely see. Tossing gun gear and all, hard in bed. Didn't even give my Dodge more than seconds to crank up, jerking drive, attempting to flee, but I couldn't. My leg was bouncing off the floor with every heartbeat. When I got back, my friend was already waiting. He was spooked and couldn't get away from the horrible stench. All I could say to the landowner was, "Have you heard or seen anything strange?" He simply said, "Misplaced things and garbage ransacked and loud owls." I've only told a few people. My brother with jumbo nuts, instead he would have shot it. Why did not? Oh, sorry. My brother with jumbo nuts, instead he would have shot it. Why didn't I? My answer, without missing a beat, was, I would have just pissed it off. That was my final day hunting, mushrooming, camping, or letting my children experience the woods. There were a few reports in the area from the BFRO clowns. To this day, I still sweat and shake. My hair stands on and eyes water, almost in full-blown panic attack, like it just happened. This is my Indiana Monster truth, and the day I became a member of that knowing club. Thank you so much for the round table and your backbone. And there you go, you guys. Jay, appreciate you, man. That's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, the reaction, and that ended all the good stuff for you. That sucks, and it's not fair, and that's what really makes me grind my teeth. I've made that clear on how many times? How many times? You're my fellow human being, my fellow brother, sister, neighbor, outdoors person, having such an incredible theft of life from that. It sucks. It's really, really wrong. It's very wrong. Coming from me, because I am just like the person who wrote in and many others. I love the real world outside the door, right? The mountains and the forests, the natural food that it has to offer us that we're supposed to be eating, the physical activity it takes to get out there and do it, the fresh air, the healthy part, and it's all stolen from so many good people, and it's not right. You know what I mean? It's not right. And for all you people that are here just to look for proof, you're missing so much. You've already lost. If you need to be convinced at this point of the game, you're never going to be convinced. Even if one came up and slapped you in the side of the head with his pecker, it's probably not going to convince you, right? Anyway, we're going to keep going, keep sharing the voices, keep sharing the people's voices. It's the only voices we should be listening to. Is the people, right? The good, honest, hardworking people who are having things stolen. Chances of having that real cool, frickin' awesome lifetime has been stripped from them. Here's your classic example right here. Makes me grumpy. Alright, one more and I'm going to get going. And we are going to go where, without a doubt, there is a group of, or a couple of, or whatever it is. Call them whatever you want. A clan, a group, a tribe, are living where I'm going today. Am I seeking them out? Nope. Just want to see if there's any huge bull elk on my cameras and whatever wildlife, and that's about it. Now, it's titled Moving Forward. Hey Steve, I really like what's going on with your channel and the knowledge that is being shared through experiences. My training/education is that of an architect, and although there is no relationship between architecture and this topic, what architects are really are problem solvers. A blend of engineering and design for finding solutions to spatial relationship problems. Without good problem-solving skills, an architect is about as useful as a farrier without a rasp. At the risk of triggering or pissing people off, maybe even you, I have to point out what seems to be obvious, yet so overlooked by most. You're probably not going to piss me off. By now, most of us have accepted that they, the forest people, share human DNA, as well as some physical traits or similarities. However, The idea that we share things with them doesn't mean that they are the same as us, or that their behavior should be compared to the human experience. You often talk about how you've moved past footprints and videos of structures because you don't need, quote, proof, end quote, of their existence. I think that is an intelligent rung on the ladder to more fully understanding them and their role on this planet. Here's where we might diverge. Comparing them to us, beyond physical appearances and DNA, is not a very useful tool in understanding what they are, where they come from, or why they behave as they do. Hear me out, because I think my logic is sound. Because only half of their DNA, mitochondrial, is of human origin, and we don't know what the other half, nuclear, is. It doesn't make scientific sense to compare their actions, abilities, or habits to those of humans. Why do I conclude this? Well, let me explain it like this. If you were to cross a dog and a cat, which animal would you expect the resulting offspring to behave more like? After all, the physical appearances of dogs and cats are very similar in most regards, but I would suggest that what you end up with is neither a dog nor a cat, but a blend of the two completely different species. Because of this, it wouldn't be very scientifically sound to base the judgment of their behaviors or abilities by those of a single parent animal. For instance, you wouldn't, or shouldn't, wonder why the new animal isn't good at guarding the house. After all, one of its parents was a dog. Likewise, you shouldn't assume that the claws of the new animal are retractable because one parent was a cat. I do fully understand people's desire to compare them to us, because I did that at one point in my journey as well. Everything changed for me when I began getting telepathic, mind-speak messages from them. It was at that point that I began looking at them differently, through a new lens. My new lens allows me to not get hung up on questions like, why do they seem to enjoy scaring people? Or, how is it that tracks just disappear? The how and why have as much to do with them being human as the dog's claws not being retractable because one of the parents was a cat. They are not human. They are not whatever the other half of the DNA is. They are a completely unique species unto themselves, and trying to figure them out based on how we behave seems to be illogical at best. After all, we don't wonder why amphibians don't act more like fish or more like reptiles. They're unique, but exhibit some characteristics and behaviors of both. If a person wants to spin their wheels trying to figure out the forest people, the best way is by comparing them to humans. We have to move past this way of studying them. Part of that includes not discounting the stories that seem too bizarre to be true. They only seem too bizarre because everyone is using human behaviors as their reference. After all, you've summed it up best, in the general sense, in that thousands of people have reported similar behaviors, which tends to confirm the behavior. While maybe bizarre, is legitimate and may or may not have anything to do with the human half of the DNA. Anyway, just something to chew on and hopefully more move forward with. Thanks for yours and everyone's time. If you choose to read this, Kansas Phil. Phil, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree with you. And you wrote it down very smoothly and easy to understand. It was a great email share, man. It's a great email share. May confuse some, and some may be shaking their head going, uh-huh. Yeah, the mind speak thing. Isn't it amazing? I haven't had it happen. I'm not looking. I was visualizing it happen potentially when I was by myself the other day out there, and how I might react. And I was standing there in the sunshine on the side of the river, looking across the river into that thick, gnarly shit where the native lady I spoke with was standing right there where I was fishing, and I was trying to picture what I would do. Okay, what are you going to do right now if all of a sudden a voice comes in your head saying, get out of here now, you're going to die? It's a real tough thing to imagine and try to picture experiencing if you haven't had it happen, right? The mind speak thing is just one aspect of what you're talking about, Phil, but what a bizarre experience, man, to have a voice clear in your head. without manifesting yourself. You know, you're not hoping it's going to happen. You're not thinking about it. You're just sitting there trying to figure out how to catch a steelhead on a freaking GoPro underwater as best you can. And all of a sudden a voice smacks you between the ears and tells you to get the hell out of here now or you're going to die. Or whatever. Whatever they're going to say, right? And I try to picture it and it's just, I couldn't picture it because it's just too far out there for me to picture. I'm like, what? But do I deny this going on? Not a frickin' chance. It's a strong pattern. It's happened too many times, and people who I am very familiar with and respect have had it happen, and they're telling me all about it. It's one of those numerous things where the majority of us are going, come on, man, lose the crack pipe. Mind speak from a monkey? Come on. Sorry. There's way too many people reporting that. Too many. It's happening. It's a reality. Sorry. Shoot the messenger all you want. I don't care. I shoot back. Anyway. Okay, I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna get this loaded up for you guys. By now, I think Sarah should be up and at 'em and ready to go, and I'm gonna drag her all the way out there. I think we gotta drive about, I don't know. We're gonna have to drive about 2 hours on logging roads. And then start our hike into that mature timber along that river. And wait till you see the trails in there. The trails for the elk alone, the game they're incredible. Once you get past the edge and into the jungle, it opens up and this big moss covered, dark canopy, Amazonish rainforest, and there's a pile of sign of life in there. And I'm going to take you guys with me. I'm going to videotape the hike in there. And then we're going to retrieve those 2 trail cameras. Have a look around. Maybe find some big bull elk antlers on the ground, maybe, or maybe not. See what the dog's reaction's like in there. And see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting day, that's for sure. For sure. Anyway, share my story at howtohunt.com. Okay, you guys? For all you people who watch these videos all the time, I don't know how you're missing this part. Share my story at howtohunt.com. That's where you email your story, your photos, whatever you want to do. You share your questions. That's where it goes, all right? And please, the guy in Alberta who saw the U.S. government people, apparent, quote, government, end quote, people, whoever these people are, apparently they're Americans on Canadian soil, rural and private property looking for Sasquatch beings. Please get that conversation to us, okay? If it's a little too confusing to paste an email, those screenshots, get somebody to help you. There's going to be somebody very close by who can do it and give you a hand, all right? To share my story at howtohunt.com. We want to hear that. We want to see that conversation. Big time. Big time. Have a great day, you guys. I'll be back shortly.